Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a lovely Honda CR-V. This is a, sorry, the wind's picking up, a 2-litre EX automatic. It's covered 69,000 miles. It's absolutely packed with optional extras actually. Obviously the white paint, door protectors, side steps. You've got the exterior pack, which I think might be the robust or urban pack or something. High level rear spoiler, upgraded grille. It really looks fantastic and is in lovely condition as well. Around the front for you first, with the lights and lenses, they're clear and intact, no obvious cracks or condensation. Bumper's very clean, likewise bonnet, very, very clean indeed. Come down the near side, passenger side first, and it is beautifully smooth in the panels there. Near side front alloy, the one that generally takes all of the bashing, has got hardly anything, just a little bit on the outside edge there you can see, which is fairly natural for this age of mileage. Panels very, very clean indeed. Near side rear alloy, absolutely unmarked there. Always been my favourite angles for these with the packs from the rear 3/4. It's a subtle pack, but it works really well and it makes it stand out, especially with the sort of silver trim at the bottom there. Around the back again, all very, very clean. Off side of the car, driver's side, again very smooth, no obvious indentations there at all. Offside rear alloy, very good. I think there's one mark on one spoke I can possibly point out there. Panels continued, again very, very clean. The final wheel, again in very good condition. I mean, they are really handsome looking cars with these packs, and that's in very, very nice condition. It's coming inside the car now, parked in the shade so it's not too glary and shadowy for you. But enormous rear boots, and you've got the load liner here protecting the carpeted areas. It's coming into the back with these wide open rear doors, full black leather interior. It's been kept very, very well, because normally the back of the CR-Vs are very heavily used where the kids sit, but this one's only had very, very mild use. Come to the front of the passenger side, again very clean and tidy. Passenger seat again in very nice condition. Coming on the driver's side, again, door card all nice and clean. Footwell area is very nice as well. Sorry, it's a bit more shadowy here. Again, drive seat really good, and this one obviously gets all the use. It's only got the tiniest bit of wear on the bolster there, which isn't what you always expect to see on them, but again, that's far, far better than most of its vintage. So finally, inside the car, as always, the dashboard's illuminated while the engine's running here, so it can be seen operating. Sat nav, you can see working absolutely perfectly. Pop the car into reverse. It's a lovely clear gridded parking camera, the bigger camera on these at the top of the range cars, and obviously that complements the front and rear parking sensors. So it's been kept very, very, very nicely. Then up to the main dash binnacle. Hopefully you can see there, 69,059 miles. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V, and it's a 2-litre EX automatic. Car's registered RE13YXF, and mileage currently showing on the car is 69,052 miles. The reason we do all of our videos, and actually especially this road test section, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at our cars advertised, they get to see the very car they're looking at in operation. The reason we feel it's important is because, like far too many people out there, we've been to see cars which look absolutely fine in photographs and description, but only to get there and find out that there's a fundamental issue with the car which you'd much rather know about before setting off. So hence that's why we do it. Also done on these very quiet country roads close to our premises, and this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, so hopefully then it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, been a very, very well looked after car in terms of maintenance, and it shows because it just drives so solidly. The engine starts, it's push button start on the top of the range car, it starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. No warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. And temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on one of these Hondas. The engines, as always with any Honda 4-cylinder petrol engine, is simply brilliant. They're the best builders of 4-cylinder engines in the world. It's smooth, quiet, refined, it's flexible, it's economical, it's ridiculously reliable with regular maintenance. Cam chain driven, so there's no cam belts on them at all, so no major service looming on them, and a far better way to join the bottom and top of an engine. But just a lovely engine to use day in, day out. It's got a lovely engine note to it. There's no harshness. It feels what it is. It's just a really lovely piece of engineering. It's absolutely fabulous. It really is. The engine then feeds through into the auto gearbox, which, like the engine, has a reputation for being incredibly strong and reliable and very long lasting. The gear ratio is clearly chosen to extract the best out of the car in terms of fuel economy and also performance. Notwithstanding any reputations, you should always do the obvious checks on any automatic car, which I positively encourage. Basically, as you're driving along, just make sure the gear shifts are in fact smooth and they're perfect in the sense on the car, but also the fact that when you are stationary, when you select drive or reverse from neutral, just make sure there's no great clunks or thunks as it engages gear, and in every respect this car is perfect, so no issues at all. The gearbox also has the option to change manually. You don't have to pre-select or move the gear lever to do it. You've just got these paddles on either side of the steering wheel. Left hand one goes down the gearbox, right hand one goes up. It's actually really handy. I mean, if you're stuck behind a slow moving car or tractor or something on the road, but wanted to make absolutely certain the gearbox wasn't going to suddenly change up halfway through the operation, you can do it manually, and you just pull the tab back, either of them, and it'll pre-select whatever gear is in keeping with your forward speed, so it's not going to over-rev the engine. So if I pull this one back ready for an imaginary overtaking manoeuvre, it's selected me fourth. I might want to go down to third or maybe even second. Put my foot down, accelerate, change up with this one, change up with that one, and the gear change is actually quite quick, and after a short period of time, as is always the case, it just goes back to full auto mode. It's really handy. Steering on the car, really nicely weighted on the CR-Vs. Honda knows how to make these cars. I mean, the CR-V is the best-selling SUV in the world, and it's obvious as soon as you drive them, you realise you're on something that's been very well engineered. Steering, by the way, tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, but it's very nicely weighted. It makes the car feel very solid, secure on the road, but it's actually very accurate and precise in terms of, when you're going on down the road. It feels very car-like, and that's the whole feel of the car. Suspension, this section of road is horrible, which is why I talk about it along here. It's like the surface of the moon. I'm listening out for any clonks or rattles coming from underneath the car that shouldn't be there, and basically there's absolutely none at all. Suspension also gives you a very well judged ride. It's compliant, it's absorbent in the right way, but when you go through corners you don't get all that kind of loads of motion you get going on with some of its competitors, where you turn to a corner and the thing kind of lollops through corners, because sometimes you get into one of these sort of more upright cars, if you like, and you find that it's got a, I've been in a few where you think, crikey, it rides beautifully, really smoothly, and then you find out why, because as soon as you show it a corner, it just lollops about, it feels awful. So comfort's a very subjective thing, obviously. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove when I'm up to speed. Make sure one's directly behind me. Really good brake pedal on the car, no pulsing, no vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, so all in fine order. Finally, coming inside the car, the first thing you notice about pretty much every Honda CR-V is they are beautifully put together. We're talking about a car that's now 9 years old, done 69,000 miles. There's no squeaks, no rattles, and that's common for these things in terms of a lack of them. In that sense, they are brilliantly put together cars. They're also really, really nice places to sit and drive a car. It's a very, very nice interior that's well designed and thought out. First thing, you've got fantastic visibility, which is helped by your height off the road, but the glass area is really good. Massive wing mirrors help, which make you feel very secure on sort of dual carriageway and motorway type situations. They've got quite a low dashboard line, again, which just really helps with forward visibility as well. The dashboard, being an EX, is very highly equipped, but it doesn't phase. It's a car that you can, after 2 or 3 days, it all becomes second nature very quickly indeed. It's also got, it's beautifully engineered because all the switchgear has beautiful tactile quality to it, very nicely thought out and put together. Sat nav, as you can see, working absolutely perfectly. Dual zone climate control system, which is pumping out absolutely ice cold air, by the way. Again, works exactly as it should, as do the heated seats. Dash binnacle in front, typical Honda, simple, clear, legible dials, very easy to take the information in, and very nicely laid out. Then you've got this very nice small diameter steering wheel, which is obviously leather bound on this type of car. Again, just shows absolutely no wear in it at all, in all honesty. Everything's working exactly as it should. So we're now stuck ironically behind the tractor, having talked about one earlier on. This is a four-wheel drive version of the CR-V, by the way, that, albeit there are no buttons or anything to press or to activate it, because it does it automatically. The Honda worked out really quickly that most people driving this type of car would actually be driving as I am right now, in perfectly good conditions where you don't need four-wheel drive on. Problem with having permanent four-wheel drive, of course, is it is constantly running, which means you're going to get through your tyres more quickly, put more mechanical stress through the car, and use more fuel in the process. So the way this works, dead simple, via the traction control system actually. The car runs in front-wheel drive the whole time. It's the most efficient way to pull a car along. If the front wheels lose grip from sort of snow, ice, mud, whatever happens to be, it instantly and far more quickly than you could ever react engages the four-wheel drive seamlessly, and it is amazing. It's like someone giving a push in the back. And I've got a CR-V which we tow a caravan with, which we've never come close to getting stuck with it. It's very, very, very well thought out. And its lack of use actually gives it its inherent reliability as well, because in all the years selling CR-Vs, we've never really touched the systems, so they are incredibly robust. As I said at the start of the video, it's only brief, and apologise for the slightly slow end to it, and typically he's going my way. It's just a feedback on any obvious issues, of which there are none at all. It's a reminder whenever you drive a CR-V why they are so popular. It's a lovely, lovely, lovely car to drive. They are very high quality indeed. There are no issues that I can find on this car at all. It drives absolutely beautifully.